Hello everyone, today we are going to work on how to show this dynamic input tips based on the active input device I am using. So here now I am using an Xbox controller, so that's why I get press X to collect arrows, press X to collect stone, like that. And initially I get press use left thumbstick to move around. Now let me show you. If I use the keyboard and mouse, use WSAD to move around, use E to collect stone. Here use E to inspect item, press R to rotate, press E to leave, or press F to collect. Okay, so now let me show the same thing using the Xbox controller. Use L to move around, left thumbstick, let's go over there, press X to inspect the item. So see, press Y to rotate, press X to leave, or B to collect. So we get the same tips dynamically changing based on the input device. So yeah, let's see how to do that today. And this episode is sponsored by this generous patron. Thank you very much for the support. Okay, so at the moment when I play my game, as the tips I get only keyboard buttons as the tips, movement inputs. Even when I go near some object, press E to collect. So actually I have connected an Xbox controller and I am using that to control the character. So right, so how do we show dynamically? If I am using the Xbox controller, it should show, instead of E, whatever the key that I have assigned in the controller. So that's what I want to do today. So how that happens is, basically how I show the tip is, as I defined, it's just some simple code in the beginning play of the adventure, this level blueprint. Actually I have defined this in the player controller. I have implemented this BPI player controller interface. There I have defined get input keys to get whatever the keys that we have assigned for a particular action. We implemented that part in this dynamic control tips video, the very first episode of the adventure series. So here, if I go to the implementation of this get input keys, I have implemented it in this player controller class that I have used here. This is the interface. Here I have implemented the BPI player control interface, and here I have that get input keys for a given input name. So this is the function. So here I get all the functions, all the button mappings for action or axis, and here I am using this is active input device, and at that point I just set it, I just return true only if that particular key is a keyboard key, because at that point I didn't want to worry about any controllers. So today we need to see how this works when I have Xbox controllers. So right, first let me quickly go to the project settings and inputs and check for the movement. Yeah, we have assigned gamepad left thumbstick. Okay, so gamepad, that's what we have used. So we can also check if is gamepad key. So So we separately we need to implement a way to the currently using active input device, but for now, just to see how the keys will be listed, I'll use this one. This is only for testing, alright? Right, I get gamepad, left thumbstick, so those things. Let me play again. So I took a screenshot so that I can easily see gamepad, left thumbstick, y-axis, and left thumbstick, x-axis. Those are the things I get here. And instead of that, I need to show the buttons, preferably some image that shows just the left thumbstick. Okay, first let's define an enumeration to hold which type of input that is the active moment input. Active input device, not moment input. Input devices. First one, keyboard, mouse, and the second one, oh wait, description is input devices. First one, keyboard, mouse. Second one, gamepad. Keyboard and mouse. Gamepad. Okay. These two should be enough for the moment. And then in the player controller, I think I already have any key event, do I? No. Right. So let me make any key. Let me create this any key event in the player controller and make sure to disable this one and also disable this one. So if you consume the input, this will be, any of the other inputs will not work in other blueprints. So make sure that you have disabled that. And here we can we can check is keyboard key or is mouse, is gamepad key. Alright, now here let's add a branch. If it is a keyboard key, also we can check mouse, is mouse button as well. This one off. This one we can possibly check mouse X or Y as well, but this should be enough. If one of these conditions are true, we should set. Alright, now we need a variable here, active input device, in the type of input devices, the one that we just created, the enumeration. We can set it as the keyboard and mouse. If not, we can have another branch if it is a gamepad key. If yes, we can set the active input device as the gamepad. Right, now in the here I have defined is active input device, this function. So instead of using these two, we can use this one. Oh wait, input. So here we don't actually have a direct way to get the input device, key device. So let's if this is a keyboard key, let's add another local variable, key device, right? And if this is true, this is not really a clean or elegant way, but I don't see any other option at the moment. So if this is true, let me break. I'm gonna set the key device as keyboard and mouse. Oh, this one, oh, mouse button. Oh, mouse X. No. Yeah, this should be enough. Let's add the O. If both these conditions are true, this key device is keyboard and mouse. Otherwise, branch. If it is a gamepad key, then key device is actually gamepad. But yeah, since we have only two options, it's if I just test if it is a gamepad key, and if not, by default I leave it as a keyboard key. That should be also enough, but I have already implemented this. So okay, and then I'll connect return, both true return and false return to the return node, and instead of using this result, I'm gonna compare the key device with the active input device equal. So, and I'll connect the result of this comparison to the is active input device. So if these both are same, it will be true, otherwise false. Right. Oh, also I should connect this one as well. Right, now let me play the game. Okay, my controller is automatically turned off. Okay, turned on. Let me stop and add a movement input. Right, now it dynamically use the dynamically show the gamepad button here. Oh, I haven't assigned any gamepad buttons for this one. That's why I get press nothing to collect health pack. But if I now use the keyboard, see, now I get E. Okay, now here let me assign an interact gamepad. What should I assign? Gamepad face button left. That means Xbox keys X button. Right. No, I didn't activate the controller when I get the WSAD. So now I get, yeah, now I'm controlling the character with the Xbox controller, and that's why I get this face button left. Right, and if I again use the keyboard to move, I get E. So it is dynamically changing, and one problem is solved. And one more small thing, so when I play the game, I can't actually use the controller unless I click once in the editor. Now only the controller is focused into the game. So to fix that, all you have to do is go to editor preferences, and under play, game gets mouse controller, enable this. So after that, once you play the game, it will automatically focus the controls into the game. Alright, now let's get back to the matter at hand, how to show the left thumbstick or right thumbstick as images instead of showing a long text. So for that, I actually found this nice controller font. So here we have this Xbox One controller font, and I think I want to give it a try using this one. So I downloaded this one, and this is the font file, and also here is the controller font mapping. L and R thumbsticks are mapped to these letters. QWEASD are matched to these images. Face buttons are directly mapped to X, Y, A and B. Simple. So how can I use this font along with other text font that I have? So first I will import this font into my project. I already have a font. Yeah, I already have this font folder. Let me import it here. Just all. Okay. Shall we test this a bit? Because I'm not really sure how this works. I'm using something like this for the first time. So let's go to HUD Widget Tips. Right, here we are using this rich text style set. Let me just duplicate this text. I can't. Right, let me add a text here and assign the controller Microsoft Xbox One. Right, we are getting, oh, I have to compile. Yeah, we get the X button. See, so just like here, A should be A, B should be B. No, capital A means this one, rise Q. Okay, right, so simple A is this one, right, simple B means this one, simple X is X button. Okay, so the buttons are working. So we need some way to convert this gamepad left thumbstick, those longer text, into one of the characters using this font. Right, so first let me delete this and let's go back here, get input keys, and here we return the input keys. Let's also return, add a new return type, which gives us the the device that this particular key belongs to. So again, get input keys is defined here. Let me add another output. Device. Input device. Giving the type of input devices. Okay, and then here, let's return the active input device like this. Right, now we need to do some kind of a mapping to assign these the names we get. For example, and input gamepad face button left. Those buttons, those names, gamepad face button left, that means the X button. So we need to replace that entire sentence with just X, simple X. Right. First, instead of using this get display name, let's add another PO function. Get input label. Yeah, that should be good enough. And here as a return, we should have a string input label, and as the input we need to have two things. First one is key. Key. Second one is input. I'll name this input key and key device. Okay. So I'm gonna, instead of this get display name, I'm gonna use this get input label. Or maybe instead of calling it input, we can call it get key label, and I'll make it a PO function so that we can use it like this without any execution pins. Oh, this one needs to be changed to input device. Right, now here as the key device, I can use the active device because otherwise we wouldn't proceed to this section. And yeah, instead of this one, now I can use this one. I'll do the same thing in here as well. Right, now let's implement this get key label. So here I'll add a local variable. In the local variable, let's call it key name, no, Xbox map. This should be input key. From the input key we can get display name. So this is a text value. So text, I'll change this type to text and I'll convert this to a map. Oh, we can't. Let me compile. We can't. Right, then let's change this to a text string. Now we can have a map. Okay, so as the map, the second variable I'll use string. Okay, so now let's initialize this Xbox map. So first one, gamepad face button left. Let's try test with this one. Let me put this in my other screen so I can easily type. This one should be gamepad face button left means X. It should be simple X. We should map it to simple X. And the other one for movement, gamepad left thumbstick Y axis. You can't afford to have any typos here. This should be this symbol. I can't duplicate. X-axis is the other one. Oh no. X-axis also the same actually, because the left thumbstick is left thumbstick. Both axes are in the left thumbstick. Alright, I think this should be enough to test. Right, now we can get the X. Oh wait, now we can have a switch based on this input device. So if it is mouse and keyboard, we can just return this. We don't need to do any changes. Otherwise, if it is a gamepad, we have to get the display name and we have to get the Xbox map and get find the relevant key name to this one, to the given input. So if we have a valid input, return that name, otherwise just return the same name. Right, let me test this again. See, now I get X to collect. So we actually get the key X, but it's not actually the button image that I just showed you guys in that font. For the initial tip also we get this this relevant letter, but not this one. In order to show this one, we have to use this exact font. So how to do that? Let's go back to the widget tips, and here we show tips. We call show tips. This is in the tips. PPA HUD show tips. Okay, let's open the HUD. Show tip here. Okay, here we show the tip, but still all right. in here we use this input label. We use this label, input label, to change the font color to brown. So we have defined those details. We are using this rich text for input, this one here, this one, right? So let me duplicate this and change this to gamepad, and here as the font I'll use controller Microsoft Xbox One. Okay, now in here you also get the input device. I think here we just put this away and get some space here. We can have a switch. If this is mouse and keyboard, we can just show the tip like this, and if it is gamepad, we can do the same thing, but instead of using this input label, we will have to use this let me connect them first. We have to use gamepad label, right? Compile. Now if I play the game, press L to move around, we get LL because in here in the project settings, inputs, for move forward and move right, we have both we are using gamepad left thumbsticks y-axis and left thumbsticks x-axis. So for both these input names we get left thumbstick image, so that's why we get LL. So we can, that's a special situation. So in that case we have to actually get only one custom check that and show only one thumbstick image, but for the other one, let's see, let me open up one of these interactable objects. Here we show tip when we overlap with this sphere. Show tip. Here also we do the same thing, but here also we have to change this label. So actually instead of doing it like before, let's do a select here based on the input device. So this method should be simpler. If it is keyboard and mouse, what was the default value we had here? Oh, it's not there. Let me check. Use input, right? If it is use input, otherwise use gamepad, right? And I think we have another similar situation for the collectible artifacts as well. Tip here, all right, here Here also we have to use this select. Based on input device. I think it would be better if we can encapsulate this part into a single function, but for now let's do it this way. Because this is becoming tedious. Yes, I don't think this is the way we should move forward. Let me break it here and keep it like this. Let's go back to the get input keys. Here, when we return keys, let me break this. Let's do an append here. And in the middle keys, in here we can have this part. Yeah, now we can select this string based on the input device. So it will be applied to all the places so we don't have to worry about anything. If it is keyboard and mouse, just input, otherwise gamepad, and at the end just this one. Right, now we can get rid of all those things in all the places. That means here we can just completely remove this part. No, we need the press part still. Press this button to rotate and press this button to leave. Or this button to collect. Where else I have the show tip? Here. Here also we only need to use to inspect. Right. And in here also we don't need this annotation, so whatever those labelings, and we don't need this part as well, only this one, so it simplify the code. That's better. So we don't need the press part here, only need this part. Also we have to modify at the back. Tip, right. View show tip. Correct. Okay. Right. Time to test. Let's see. Okay, we got the two well buttons, but that's a special case, as I said. Let's go here. We got press X to collect poison, and press X to collect stone, and if I move using the keyboard, I get press E. Okay, we are getting it right, and we need a space here. And here for turning we use R. Let's add another gamepad key Y. Right, now let's test again. Get L, X to collect, right here, X to inspect. Okay, yeah, actually this one, face button up, face button top, gamepad face button top, I didn't add this into this list. Top, this should be Y. Right, now let's move using the Xbox controller. Seems like there is a bug here. Let me restart. Right, Y to rotate and X to leave. So if I press Y, you can see character rotating the object. If I press X, it put back. Okay, everything is working fine. Alright, so I'm gonna stop this episode right here, and thanks for watching. So as always, project files will be available for the download through Patreon page. Link would be in the description below, and if you would like to support my work, you can get the membership of the Patreon club. Oh, before I go, one more small thing. Here I just thought of a quick fix for this input keys. Before we append here, if the value that we already have here equal to the label, that means we are getting the same key repeated. In the previous case, LL. So if we have such a scenario, let's not set the input keys. Let's leave it as it is. So I'll disconnect it here, and I'll do the same check for this part as well, for this axis. So I think we should be able to prevent duplication of the same key symbol. Right, let's see now. Oh, still a alright, actually the issue is that we are here, we get both move forward and move right. So if we are working with the controller, we don't need to have this both, because usually the left thumbstick handle both move forward and move right. So right. So if we know what's the active input device, we can change it right here. Right, maybe in the player controller interface. We have git is active with key, right? Let's add another function, get active input device. As the output, I'll add input devices active input device, and let's implement it here. We can just return this one, and here no, we can get the player controller and get active input device. And we can have a switch on input devices. If it is keyboard and mouse, it should be this part. Otherwise, this path. Now we should have, oh, we have an error. Sorry, show tip. Right now, okay, now we get L to move around, X to collect, and if I use keyboard, finally E to collect. Alright, so I think we can safely stop this episode. Alright, yeah, as always, project files will be available for the download here in the Patreon page. Link would be in the description below, and if you like to support my work, you can get the membership of the Patreon club. And see you in another episode. Goodbye.